latest adventure in 3D modeling. This is the CF37A Starstreak at 1/72nd scale. The canopy was printed separate. I still need to hollow it out. I'll probably work and just make it frames, because that scale I'm not going to be able to make it transparent without casting it that way. As you can see, cockpit detail is in there. You can actually make out the control sticks and the cushions in the chair. Guns show up much better at this scale. And there we have a conversion exported from Poser at 1/72nd scale. That would be Heleonore Elizabeth Donaja, call sign Goldwing, Valkyrie 3. Alright, here we have a different print. This one is vehicle I call the RNG 1D Renegade Racer, from another set of stories I wrote. Now this one, I freely admit, is not going to have an interior when I get done with it. You can see where the supports are inside the car. I do need to open up the wheel wells so I can put some wheels on her. This one is roughly 1/24th scale. I scaled the width off of a die-cast Corvette that I've got. But I'm very happy with how that looks. Even without an interior, that's going to look cool painted up. Alright, after roughly 16 hours of printing, we have the components to do a 1/144th scale version of Goldwing 1 here. Now, this one's not going to be completely viable. The nose came out just fine, as did the left wing and engine. Problem came in because I didn't pay attention when I was putting in the supports and chitterbox. The middle section of this engine did not get supported, so it distorted. And the main body, this was all done hollow, the main body ran into a different problem. It was printing vertically, and I neglected to install any vent holes in the sides or in the bottom. And somewhere in the middle of last night while it was printing, it quite literally ruptured and broke open. The only thing I can figure is the pressure of the resin was too much for the newly forming layers of cured resin to support. So I've since gone in and reset that up, as well as that, to hopefully this weekend see what we can do about getting a complete version. Okay, after reprinting the main body and the deformed right wing, I now have the parts to do the 1/144th scale Goldwing 1. I did run into a problem on the reprint with the upper piece, so I basically went in and cut off the deformed piece from that one, from this one, and cut this piece off, the original one that shattered, and I'll glue it in play, and when all is said and done, we'll have one very large ship. I may have the wings backwards, but that's what we'll be looking at. That 1/144th scale versus the smaller version I originally printed at 150 millimeters. which turns out to be like 0.13 millimeters shy of 1/350th. So, yeah, it's coming along. I'm learning. All right. Previously, I'd printed my RNG 1D Renegade Racer at the same width as the 2020 Corvette. Now, one problem I ran into was, it's a midget. The other problem was it was nowhere near high enough in comparison to the Corvette. And let's be honest, some of the proportions looked a little, well, off. So, taking advantage of the fact this is a 3D model, I went in, stretched it to closer to the same length as the Corvette, stretched the cockpit, and also adjusted the roof lines so that you could actually conceivably put two people in it. This one took considerably longer to print, but all in all, once I clean up the bottom, I can open up the wheel wells and actually turn that into something looking like a car. And for the last bit of printing this week, we go to the opaque gray resin, and we do some bits for a new Mandalorian helmet. These are some earpieces I picked up off of Thingiverse, as well as a back vent I also picked up off Thingiverse. Files printed just fine. And, because these were able to sit flat on the bed, there's a curve here, but looking at the part, that's purely intentional because it's consistent all the way through. But because these two earpieces were flat on the bed, there was little to no cleanup involved. All in all, a very productive weekend.